Good evening and welcome to the Sleeping Zoo. Facts to fall asleep to. The rattlesnake is the signature serpent of the Americas, an icon of the deserts, mountains, and prairies, whose very name evokes a primal sense of caution and respect. Comprising over 36 distinct species within the genus Crotalus and the genus Cistrurus, known as the pygmy rattlesnakes, this group of pit vipers represents a pinnacle of venomous evolution, perfectly adapted to a life of precise ambush predation. Their ability to thrive across incredibly diverse North American landscapes, from humid swamps to arid badlands, is owed to a specialized biological toolkit that allows them to hunt efficiently in complete darkness and to defend themselves with one of nature's most effective warning signals. To fully grasp the potency and ingenuity of the rattlesnake, we must first dissect the remarkable elements of its physiology. The rattlesnake's most significant physiological adaptation, shared with other pit vipers, is the complex, dual-purpose sensory apparatus housed within the loreal pits. These are a pair of deep indentations located on either side of the head, between the eye and the nostril, which function as highly sophisticated infrared detectors or thermoreceptors. These pits contain thin membranes densely packed with nerve endings, making them exquisitely sensitive to even minute changes in temperature. This system allows the snake to effectively see the heat signature of warm-blooded prey, such as rodents and small birds, even in pitch-black conditions. This thermal vision provides a critical advantage for a nocturnal ambush predator, enabling a precision strike far superior to relying on sight or smell alone. The pits work in stereo, allowing the snake to triangulate the heat source, determining not only the presence of prey, but its exact distance and direction with astonishing accuracy, guiding the lethal delivery of venom. Further enhancing its specialized weaponry is the venom delivery system. Rattlesnakes possess solenoplethous fangs, meaning their long, hollow fangs are capable of folding back against the roof of the mouth, when at rest, allowing them to remain safely housed within a protective sheath. When the snake strikes, specialized muscles rotate the maxilla bone forward, snapping the fangs erect and ready to pierce. The venom itself, produced and stored in highly modified salivary glands, is a complex cocktail of enzymes and toxins. While the specific composition varies significantly between species and even populations, rattlesnake venom is typically hemotoxic, meaning it attacks the circulatory system, destroying blood vessels, breaking down tissue, and disrupting the coagulation process. This hemotoxicity serves two vital functions. It rapidly incapacitates large prey, minimizing the risk of the snake being injured by the struggling animal, and it initiates the pre-digestion of the prey from the inside out, a crucial step for a reptile that swallows its food whole. The iconic rattle is perhaps the most unique aspect of the rattlesnake's physiology and a masterpiece of defensive engineering. The rattle itself is composed of interlocking segments of keratin, the same protein that forms human fingernails and hair. Each segment is the remnant of a shed skin layer. Contrary to popular belief, the age of the snake cannot be determined simply by counting the number of segments, as they can break off, and the snake may shed multiple times a year, depending on food availability and climate. The sound is produced by the snake vibrating the specialized tail muscles at up to an incredible 100 times per second, causing the loose, dry segments to rub against each other. This distinct, loud buzz is a clear, audible warning, a behavioral adaptation that evolved to prevent the snake from being stepped on and potentially injured by large ungulates like bison or deer, and later by humans. The sound is an unambiguous message. I am here, I am venomous, and I demand space. This powerful physical defense and highly specialized sensory hardware enable the unique, often secretive, behavior that defines the rattlesnake's life cycle. The behavior of the rattlesnake is dominated by two primary interwoven imperatives: efficient, low-energy predation, and seasonal social aggregation. As an ectothem, or cold-blooded reptile, its activity levels are entirely dictated by ambient temperature, which governs its hunting and movement. Rattlesnakes utilize a highly patient, low-energy ambush predation strategy. Rather than actively pursuing prey, the snake remains motionless for hours, sometimes days, coiled strategically near a game trail or a rodent burrow, waiting for a warm-blooded meal to wander into striking distance. Once the prey is within range, the snake launches its lightning-fast strike, delivers the venom, and immediately retreats. This crucial strike and release behavior is a protective measure. By not holding on to the potentially large and struggling prey, the snake avoids injury. The venom then takes effect, and the snake uses its powerful olfactory sense and the unique process of chemosensory trailing, where the snake flicks its tongue to pick up residual scent particles, to locate the dead or dying animal, which can sometimes take hours depending on the success of the envenomation. This hunting style is highly energy efficient, allowing the snake to go weeks or even months between successful meals, a necessary adaptation for surviving in arid environments with unpredictable food sources. A significant behavioral adaptation driven by the need to survive cold winters is denning, or hibernation aggregation. Rattlesnakes, particularly in temperate and cooler regions, cannot survive the winter cold. Therefore, they exhibit a strong social behavior during the autumn, traveling to communal dens known as hibernacula. These dens are often located in rocky crevices, abandoned burrows, or deep fissures that extend below the frost line, offering a stable temperature and humidity environment. Hundreds, sometimes thousands, of rattlesnakes of different species may gather in a single den, coiling together in a mass called a snake ball to share residual warmth and reduce individual surface area exposure. This communal denning lasts through the cold months, from roughly October to April, depending on latitude. As soon as the sun's warmth returns in the spring, the snakes emerge, often lingering near the den entrance for several weeks to bask and raise their body temperatures before dispersing into their individual summer hunting ranges. The annual dispersal and subsequent return to the same den are guided by strong sight fidelity, an inherited or learned knowledge of the landscape passed down through generations. Rattlesnake reproduction is characterized by slow growth and late maturity, reflecting their long lifespan. They are viviparous, meaning they give birth to live young, rather than laying eggs like most other reptiles. Following internal fertilization, the eggs are retained within the female's body until they hatch. The gestation can last 3 to 5 months, after which the female gives birth to a litter of 4 to 20 fully developed, miniature rattlesnakes. The young are born with a single button-like segment called a prebutton, on their tail and are instantly venomous and capable of hunting, receiving no parental care after birth. However, because pregnancy is energetically expensive, females often reproduce only every 2 years, making populations slow to recover from high mortality events, a critical factor influencing their conservation status. This specialized temperature-dependent life cycle, dictated by energy conservation and seasonal aggregation, is tightly bound to the precise characteristics of their chosen habitat. The habitat of the rattlesnake is one of the most extensive and ecologically diverse of any snake group in the world, spanning the entire breadth of the Americas, from southern Canada to Argentina. However, the greatest concentration and diversity of species are found in the arid and semi-arid regions of the southwestern United States and northern Mexico. The various Crotalus species are masters of occupying a multitude of harsh environments, each requiring slightly different adaptations. Chihuahuan and Sonoran desert species like the Mojave rattlesnake thrive here, utilizing the sparse vegetation, rocky outcrops, and underground rodent burrows for thermal regulation. The extreme temperature swings of the desert demand rapid shifts in behavior, with snakes being nocturnal in summer but active during the day in the cooler spring and autumn. In the Great Plains grasslands and prairies, the western rattlesnake and prairie rattlesnake are common, often utilizing the deep burrows of prairie dogs and ground squirrels for denning and ambush sites, integrating directly with the rodent colonies that form their primary prey base. In mountain forests and foothills, some species, like the black-tailed rattlesnake, inhabit high elevation, pine oak woodlands, demonstrating tolerance for cooler temperatures, relying on rocky slopes for basking and shelter. Eastern deciduous forests and swamp rattlesnakes are the largest species. This is found in the deep south, thriving in sandy pine flatwoods and coastal swamps, often near human development. Despite this wide geographical and environmental range, two habitat factors are non-negotiable for the rattlesnake's survival: rocky cover and rodent populations. Rocky outcrops provide the deep, stable fissures necessary for secure, temperature-regulated hibernacula during the winter and critical shelter from extreme heat during the summer. Furthermore, the availability of a dense and stable prey base, overwhelmingly small mammals like mice, voles, and gophers, is the ultimate determinant of a rattlesnake's success in any given area. When the density of prey is high, the snake's energetic needs are easily met, allowing it to reproduce more frequently and survive hibernation with greater success, which directly defines its role within the ecology of the predator-prey system. The ecology of the rattlesnake positions it as a vital mid-level predator and ecological stabilizer, playing a crucial, though often feared, role in maintaining the health of its diverse ecosystems. The rattlesnake is intrinsically linked to the population dynamics of small mammals, primarily rodents, which are often considered pests by humans. The rattlesnake is an exceptionally effective natural control agent for rodent populations. A single rattlesnake will consume numerous rodents over its active season. Given that rodents are vectors for various diseases and can cause significant damage to crops and grain stores, the snake's predatory pressure provides a critical ecosystem service, helping to prevent the explosive, unchecked growth of mouse and rat populations that can devastate local vegetation and health. Studies have shown that the removal of rattlesnakes from an area can lead to a significant increase in the prevalence of rodent-borne illnesses, demonstrating their vital, stabilizing influence. The snake also serves as a crucial food source for a select group of specialized predators that have evolved ways to overcome its venomous defenses. The most famous of these is the roadrunner, which employs specialized footwork and striking speed to harass and kill juvenile snakes. The king snake, perhaps the most impressive predator, as it is immune to the venom of the rattlesnake, allowing it to actively hunt and consume adult rattlesnakes without fear of envenomation. Other predators include the greater roadrunner, various hawks and eagles, and large mammals like the badger and coyote, which will often harass snakes out of burrows. An intriguing ecological interaction involves the snake's venom. Beyond its immediate function as a paralyzing agent, the rattlesnake's venom also plays an important role in digestive efficiency. By initiating the breakdown of tissue before the prey is even swallowed, the snake reduces the total time required for digestion. This is particularly important for an ectotherm, as the digestive process requires the snake to maintain a higher optimal body temperature for an extended period, which can leave it vulnerable to predators and exposure. By speeding up this process, the venom improves the snake's ability to survive and return to hunting. This intricate ecological placement as a predator that is both a controller of pests and a food source for others is constantly being undermined by human activity. The perception of the rattlesnake as a dangerous pest, rather than an ecological necessity, has led to centuries of relentless persecution, creating a severe conservation crisis across its range. The conservation status of many rattlesnake populations is deteriorating rapidly, despite the group's overall adaptability. While the species western diamondback remains common, many other regional species and local populations are now considered vulnerable or endangered. The primary threats are a direct consequence of the snake's two most distinctive behaviors: denning and the public's fear of its venom. The greatest single threat to rattlesnake populations is the widespread, systematic practice of rattlesnake roundups. These events, often cultural traditions in the American Midwest and Southwest, involve the mass capture and killing of snakes, often through the unethical and ecologically damaging practice of pouring gasoline into hibernacula to drive the snakes out. Because rattlesnakes exhibit strong sight fidelity and aggregate in massive numbers during winter, the destruction of a single den can wipe out hundreds of breeding adults and juveniles from an entire region, collapsing the local population structure. Given that females only reproduce every 2 years, the long-term removal of reproductive adults from these dens makes local populations extremely slow to recover, if they recover at all. The second major threat is habitat fragmentation and direct persecution. As human development spreads, particularly in the arid regions of the Southwest, rocky outcrops and grassland habitats are destroyed or broken up. This forces the snakes to cross roads and enter human-dominated areas, leading to high rates of road mortality and retaliatory killing. The fear-driven killing of rattlesnakes, often by well-meaning homeowners or hikers, regardless of whether the snake is acting defensively, is a constant drain on populations, particularly targeting the largest, most visible, and reproductively valuable adults. The eastern diamondback rattlesnake, for example, which is the largest and arguably most dangerous species, has seen its population decline dramatically throughout its range due to habitat destruction and relentless persecution, making it a focus of intense conservation efforts. Conservation efforts are now focused on protecting the critical hibernacula and educating the public about the snake's ecological value. Efforts include the designation of snake-sensitive areas, community education to teach non-lethal snake removal, and working to reform or end the practice of rattlesnake roundups. Furthermore, scientific research is focusing on tracking movement patterns using telemetry to identify the critical movement corridors and denning sites that must be protected from development. Protecting the rattlesnake is fundamentally a public relations challenge, requiring a shift from viewing the snake as a malicious pest to recognizing it as an integral, beneficial component of the natural landscape, a change that can be traced through its history in popular culture, folklore, and legend. The rattlesnake's potent combination of lethal power and an innate warning system has deeply embedded it in popular culture, folklore, and legend across North and South America, giving it a status that is simultaneously revered, feared, and utilized as a powerful cultural symbol. In Native American folklore, the rattlesnake often holds a position of profound spiritual importance, representing power, healing, and transformation. Many tribes view the rattlesnake as a respected creature of the underworld, or a powerful ancestor spirit associated with rain, fertility, and the deep mysteries of the earth. The snake's ability to shed its skin is universally seen as a symbol of renewal, reincarnation, and cyclical time. Far from being simply a pest, the rattlesnake features prominently in the spiritual dances and iconography of various peoples, demonstrating a deep, nuanced respect for its power. Even its venom is sometimes viewed as a purifying agent or an element of powerful medicine, a stark contrast to the fear that pervades non-native perceptions. In American history and culture, the rattlesnake was quickly adopted as a powerful political and military symbol. The most famous example is the Gadsden flag, featuring a coiled rattlesnake poised to strike with the defiant motto, "Don't tread on me." This symbol was first used during the American Revolutionary War as an emblem of colonial unity and readiness to defend against tyranny. The choice of the rattlesnake was deliberate. It is a creature unique to the Americas. It strikes only in defense and never initiating conflict, and its warning is clear and unmistakable. The rattlesnake thus became an enduring metaphor for the American spirit of vigilance, self-defense, and fierce independence, a powerful image that persists in political discourse and military insignia today. In modern popular culture, the rattlesnake is almost always depicted as the ultimate symbol of danger, treachery, and the untamed frontier, often used in westerns and thrillers to ratchet up tension. This portrayal is largely responsible for the continued fear and persecution of the animal. However, the unique dry sound of its rattle has transcended its biological function to become an instantly recognizable sound effect, used globally in film and music to signify imminent danger, the arid desert, or the presence of a lurking threat. The cultural weight of the rattle is such that its sound is often far more prevalent than the sight of the animal itself, ensuring that the snake remains a powerful, if misunderstood, element of the global imagination. This symbolism carries into animated productions and cartoons, where the snake's menacing reputation is often anthropomorphized, portraying characters as smooth-talking villains or as embodiments of slippery treachery, leveraging the cultural memory of the serpent as a tempter or hidden killer. Rarely is the rattlesnake cast as a protagonist. Rather, its appearances reinforce its status as a creature of deadly behavior and an emblem of the unforgiving wilderness, echoing the colonial-era perception of it as an adversary to be conquered, yet undeniably respected for its innate defensive power. In summary, the rattlesnake is a biological specialist whose sophisticated physiology, featuring the highly sensitive loreal pits and the lethal solenoglyphous venom system, allows it to be a successful low-energy ambush hunter. This adaptation dictates a patient behavior rooted in strike and release hunting and the essential seasonal denning aggregation in secure hibernacula. Its successful occupation of diverse habitats across the Americas depends entirely on the availability of rocky cover and a dense rodent prey base. Ecologically, the rattlesnake serves as a crucial mid-level predator, a natural control agent that prevents rodent overpopulation, but its reproductive strategy of biennial breeding makes its populations highly vulnerable to external pressures. Despite its ecological value, the species faces relentless threats from habitat fragmentation and, most critically, from culturally sanctioned rattlesnake roundups and generalized persecution. The conservation challenge is therefore inseparable from the cultural challenge of reforming the snake's image, moving from the fearful folklore of the venomous menace to the respected symbol of vigilance and ecological necessity that it truly is. Thank you and good night.